What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Really quick before we get in this video, as always, if you end up liking this video, please consider subscribing. It means a lot to me. Got other videos on this bike, which is not the one we're talking about today, but we got videos on this bike, side-by-side stuff, all kinds of stuff. So if you like this, check it out. I got Facebook, Instagram, all under the same name, Mineral Lake Tuning, so take a peek at that if you'd like. But anyways, yeah, so let's get into this. So the purpose of this video is to prove that you can purchase and have a fully functioning, rideable dirt bike for $1,000. Now, I got a lot of people telling me that this bike in particular that I'm going to show you won't be able to get going within this $1,000 budget. But I honestly think it will. I think we're fine. I'm not too concerned about it. Another part of this video, well, another question I guess I have for you guys, I kind of need your help. I'm also thinking about this summer potentially putting out a video series of not only me, but a few buddies. We all got together, got a few bikes, all within this $1,000 budget, and put all the bikes through a series of challenges, things like that. People are awarded points for each challenge they win, depending on what place they come in. And it's just fun for everyone, and we see who brought the best $1,000 bike. So if you guys think you'd like to see that, or if you have any ideas for that, maybe specific challenges, things we can do in that series, comment below. Let me know what you think, because if there's no interest in it and people don't want to see it, maybe I won't go ahead with it. But I think it'd be a fun little thing to do. So if you guys like that idea and you'd want to see that, let me know. Comment below, and we'll look into that. But anyways, for today, we are going to get this bike that I'm going to show you in a minute. We're going to get this thing fully running, drivable, within this $1,000 budget, all in this video. So without further ado, I guess I'll show you this bike, guys. Check this thing out. So it is a 1979 Suzuki PE 175. There's a few things we're going to have to address for sure. The most important thing is probably the lack of any compression that the motor has, which is not running right now, and that's probably going to soak up most of the budget. So I purchased this bike for $600, which means I have $400 to play with to get this thing running, driving. So I guess we'll go over the bad things first. Like I said, the biggest thing is that motor. So I don't know what the compression is. We're going to put it on a gauge, but it's bad. I'm going to guess like 70-80 pounds, something like that. It's bad, so that needs to be fixed. Cosmetically, it's not the greatest. The crack in the tank kind of concerns me, honestly. I don't like that, but I do not think it'll be in the budget to fix that. So we'll kind of have to play it by ear and see how it goes. But anyway, like I said, biggest thing is the engine. Other than that, the seat's ripped, obviously. It's pretty typical stuff. Other than that, like, I know it may look bad, but it really isn't. So some of the good points, front brakes work, rear brakes work. Clutch feels like it works. The tires are good enough. Tires won't be in the budget, but they're not terrible. They're not weather cracked. That's what I was looking for, to see if they were cracked all up and like kind of unsafe to ride, right? The tires are not bad. They're totally usable. So those will not be getting changed. The biggest thing that I saw when I seen this ad on Facebook here was that DG head. Now this head is pretty much almost worth what I paid for the whole bike, if not more. And I love seeing old school aftermarket stuff. The rear shocks are aftermarket. They're SMWs or SWs, sorry, I believe, which now goes under the name of progressive suspension. I posted this online and some people picked out a couple other things. This Terry kit decal here, I guess they were around in the 70s, 80s, and it's actually, you pull your forks apart. It's different valving first off, but they also add something. I didn't really look into it enough to understand it, but it gives you an extra inch of travel. So when I look at this and I see all these little things like this DG head, the Terry kit, aftermarket rear shocks, I see this aftermarket silencer, which isn't original. To me, it seems like someone at some point in this bike's life, put some time, put some money in this thing. So I feel like I think it'll be a competitive bike. I really do. So yeah, those are most of the good things. Like I said, the compression's the big issue here, but I think we'll be within budget for that. But anyways, let's get this bike inside the garage and we'll start taking a closer look at this thing. We're going to pull the head off the engine and see how it looks in there. Hopefully the cylinder is good and I can just do new pistons and rings without having to do a bore. But let's take a look. All right, so we got the compression tester hooked up. We're about to kick it. One thing I figured I'd go over first, I forgot to mention a couple things a second ago. Chain and sprockets, not doing too good. We'll probably have to end up getting a cheap set of chain and sprockets, just because it's got to be within budget. Normally I don't like using cheap chains because the last thing you want is to save $20 on a chain and that cheap chain flies through your case and wrecks a bunch of other stuff. But like I said, we're on a budget here. It's trying to keep this all within $1,000. A large reason why I'm doing this is to prove, obviously, that you can do it for $1,000. But you know what I mean? A lot of people don't have a ton of money to, go out and buy newer, expensive bikes, especially, during these times, money's tight. I get it. So I want to prove that it can be done for $1,000. But anyways, like I said, mostly cosmetic stuff that you see isn't going to change much other than the seat cover. I might have to make one myself. I have some material here, so that'll be a freebie. But we'll see what happens. Anyways, let's check this compression here. So right now the gauge is dead at 0, as you can see. This might be a little awkward here, but let's try it here. All right, let's see what we got. There's not there's not much there. Oh boy, what am I talking about? I guess I was wrong. I felt it had a lot less than that. So we're just about 110-ish there. It's better than I thought. It definitely doesn't feel like 110. That gives me hope. That gives me hope that the cylinder bore itself is still good, which will save us cost on that, boring out, getting fitting an oversized piston over what's there. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to pull the tank off and we'll pull the head off and we will take a look at that bore. Let's see what's in there and we'll go from there.
Aside from my soul, there goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight from my soul.
All right, so the head's off. One thing I noticed though that I didn't mention yet, because I just found it. The air filter, seems to be some homemade roll of tape foam thing. I don't know what's going on there. So we need an air filter. But you know what? I took a gamble on this, not knowing about the motor. And I think for once in my life, maybe I have some luck here. So I'm looking at the piston. I looked at it through the exhaust port. And I looked at the cylinder bore from what I can see without pulling the cylinder completely off. And you know what, it actually looks good. Let me get a light here. So there's no big gouges. I don't know if you can see in the bore anywhere. There is some very, very light scuffing here. Now, let me see if I can feel that with my fingernail. You know what? Just to say I can feel it. But I honestly don't think that's that bad. So the problem is, for a 78, 79 PE 175, if you want new pistons and rings, normally you can get, Namura pistons, Kimpex, Wiseco, whatever you want. And that's the case for these bikes, but not a 78 and a 79. Nobody makes it. You can get new old stock Wiseco stuff for standard bore if you can find it, but that's it. So I am really stuck here trying to find people with new old stock, old Suzuki parts that are still new. And I found some. I'm not sure if we're just going to re-ring it. Normally I never re-ring stuff, but like I said, we're on a budget here, so you never know what else you're going to run into the more you dig into these bikes. I already just found out the wheel bearings are done, just cheap, but trying to decide whether I do just rings or rings and pistons. The piston looks fine, to be honest, but maybe I'll pull the cylinder off and take a better look. All right, just like I mentioned before, You never know what you're going to get into when you start pulling these things apart. And here's a perfect example. Pull the cylinder off. So the reeds, I should show you this, are mounted to the cylinder on this, the inside of the cylinder. Anyways, took a quick look at the reeds, and they are toast. I don't know if you can see it, but it is cracked, finished. I ran a quick hone through the cylinder here, and it does have a little nick, but it's very minor. I started pricing out the oversized piston kit, which is a little more expensive than the 0.25 mil overbore, which is currently here, kit. And then on top of that, you have to get it bored. So my buddy has a guy that can do the bore for 50 bucks, but taking that 50 bucks into consideration, on top of the extra 25 bucks or so added to that second oversized 50.50 mil over kit, that extra 25 bucks, that costs over the bore we have. So it's an extra $75. Normally I would go with a fresh bore, but in this case, we're keeping her within budget here. We're going to use the same bore. Very, very minor nick, like I said. It already had 110 pounds of compression with who knows how many hours on here. So I think we're going to be fine with fresh rings. And you know what? I was going to just do rings, but there is a tiny, tiny little scuff on the piston. Not that I think it would affect anything, but the difference between just buying rings and just buying piston and rings, from what I found online, is only like 40 bucks or so. So for that case, I'll spend the 40. I'll get the piston and rings. So we're going to run same bore, 0.25 mil overbore, piston and rings. We're going to get a fresh one for it. We are going to get fresh reeds. Like I said, I ordered that. So we should probably do a tally here. So here's where I'm at right now. So budget's $1,000. We spent $600 on the bike. That gives us $400 left. Budget for parts. So the Boyson reeds I just ordered, all these prices are total prices including shipping for parts, because I'm buying a lot of this stuff online. The Boyson reeds were $21.61. The gasket kit I purchased, full engine gasket kit, was $66.19. And the Suzuki piston and ring kit I just ordered was $122.20. Total of these parts so far is $210. And what that means is we are left with $190 left. So that should take care of the engine portion of it, hopefully. So we got $190 left. That air filter, I haven't checked on the price of the air filter yet. I'm assuming it's gonna be 40, 50 bucks, something like that. Chain and sprockets, I went online, found a cheap set of cheap set of sprockets and chain. Altogether is $79, including shipping. I haven't bought it yet, just because I want to get this thing together and running first, and then see what's going on budget-wise in case I run into anything else. Because worst case, I could just get away with a front sprocket, which is like about $20-ish, and that would leave me a bunch of extra money for anything else. But we'll wait and see how that engine goes first. All right, so while we're going to be waiting for parts, let's work at the little things that we can still do. So I took the carb apart. And yeah, she's really dirty. All the jets had a bunch of dirt and junk in them too. So we're gonna get all these parts blown out with the compressor, all the jets blown out and cleaned really well. And we'll get that back assembled. Okay, so the carb's all back together on the bike, cleaned, ready to go. I figured I'd show you this air filter. Check out this thing, man. Some people, you know, I don't get it. So I looked it up, and I figured this wasn't the factory air filter cage inside, so I was gonna need a cage too. Turns out that is a factory air filter cage, so at least that's good. All the parts I need are there outside of the filter, so I guess someone decided to use a greasy old shop towel for an air filter. But yeah, no, so that's gonna go. So we bought a new air filter. That costs us $38.12. So we're really getting into the budget here. That's going to be it for right now. Waiting on parts basically. So we'll see you in a little while.
3 weeks later.
All right, we're back. We got some parts here. Air filter came in. I also got my Suzuki piston and rings. You can't buy aftermarket pistons for 78, 79 PE. It's only old new old stock Suzuki stuff for these specific years, so it's tough to find, but we got her. We got a front sprocket because it's toast. What else we get? We got those rear wheel bearings. Got a new plug, and then we also got a fuel filter. It's actually the wrong size, but we'll see what happens. The tank is full of junk inside that it can't seem to get out, which is why the carb was bad, so we might just throw a little filter in the meantime. Anyways, parts are in. Those parts, all this little stuff here, we already tallied the cost on the piston and the air filter, but this stuff here, the sprocket and the bearings and whatnot, that cost me $38.12. And then after that, I was looking at the bike a little more and noticed that the throttle cable was bad, and there's a section here where it was all damaged and it actually pinching down on the cable, so I needed to buy a new throttle cable. Once again, can only get a Suzuki one, so I purchased that. It's not in yet, but that cost me $56.13. So we're getting deep into the budget here. I got $57.63 left, so you don't got much room or much buffer zone here, I guess, for anything else to go wrong, but we do have the 56 bucks. So if all goes well, and I still have that budget by the time this motor goes back together, I'd like to get a new chain. I know I could do that for 56 bucks for sure. But we'll see how it goes. I still don't have a gasket kit, so I can't totally throw the motor back together. But for now, we'll at least get the new piston and rings on the rod. We'll pull that wheel off, get it out, get the bearings changed, put it back in, and we will get that new air filter in as well. So let's get that done. I also forgot to mention I recovered the seat. I didn't want to buy a seat cover, and I had a roll of leather laying around, so I just did it myself. And yeah, it's not too good, as you can see, but it was free, so it's gonna work. At least it's not sitting on a dirty old wet piece of foam. That's a no-go for me, so much better.
Suppression. The use of marijuana.
All right, so I think this is all we can do for today until we get more parts. So we got the rear wheel off, got the new bearings in, we fixed the brakes. The cable was just seized inside the jacket, so I hit it with some WD-40, and also the little brake cam that attached to this arm inside the drum was sticking as well. So everything got lubed up, and now I'll show you here. Our brakes are working just fine. So wheels good, brakes good. We got that new air filter in and oiled up. We got our new piston on. I just have it wrapped up for now, but new piston and rings are on. We're waiting for the gaskets like I mentioned earlier. We changed the oil in it, the bottom end oil, and good news, I guess, it actually had oil in it, so that's a good start. It was ATF from what I could see, but better than no oil, so no complaints there. What else did we do? Oh yeah, the reeds. I wanted to show you this. Here's the reeds I was talking about that were toast. So we put new Boyson reeds. You can't really see it, but we put new Boyson reeds in there. Check out the old ones. So the edges of the pedals were really bad, and then this bottom pedal here was completely broken. So got the new reeds in, and yeah, so we'll see you when we get some gaskets and we can actually put this top end together. What's going on, guys? We're back. It's been a few days. I was really hoping that throttle cable was going to come in for the weekend, and it didn't. I actually fixed the factory one for now. It had been crushed internally, There's like a metal sheathing that goes over and it was crushed on the cable. So I cut out bad sections of it and taped it up. For now, it's a little sketchy. It sticks and it doesn't work too good, but we're not going to drive it. There's no chain on it anyways, but I do want to fire it up and run it. I'd already put gas in it and I attempted to kick it over and the gas valve was stuck, or sorry, clogged. So no fuel was coming out of the fuel petcock. So I pulled it back off, spilled gas absolutely everywhere. And I cleaned it out and about ready to try firing this thing up. So like I said, we won't be able to drive it because there's no chain and that throttle cable is super sketchy, but we can start this thing. So let's hear this thing run. I haven't heard it run yet, well, at all, ever since I bought it. So let's see how this goes. Give it some choke. Gas is on. I figured it would be loud. The thing's super, super loud. Ah, even idling and everything. This is wild. He's alive, boys. Very nice. All right, she's been warming up for a couple of minutes. This thing is stupid loud. Let's give her some gas here. See how she's sounding now. Oh my God. I don't know if I purchased a chain and I got a little tiny bit of budget left. I don't know if I have enough to buy some packing. But if we do, I'd love to repack that thing because this is ridiculous. Maybe some steel wool or some free shit I have laying around. I don't know. We'll see. If she's alive. All right, so gonna repack this little muffler here. I was about to start pulling some insulation out of the wall, no joke. But I remembered I had this old fiberglass repair kit that's been sitting around forever and ever and ever, and I still got some fiberglass mat in there, so I think I'm going to jam that in there. I don't know if it's going to work. Hopefully it doesn't burn up, but as long as it lasts a little bit, I'm okay with it. So we're going to pull this out. This one actually looks nice to work on. It's got a little circlip here that you can remove and hopefully pull this apart. I'm just hoping it doesn't totally completely fall apart when I take it apart. But worst case, if I totally destroy this thing, I got a couple other silencers hanging off the wall. I'm sure we could make work. But anyways, let's pull this apart and see how it looks inside. I'm gonna guess that there's probably zero packing in there, so let's look. All right, so that actually surprisingly came out super easy. So the circlip just holds this little end cap in. Your center baffled section comes out as well, and just like I suspected, I don't know if you can see there, absolutely zero packing. So we're gonna wrap this with some fiberglass mat, throw it back in, and we'll fire up the bike, see if it made any difference at all sound wise. All right, so I wrapped the center section, threw it in. I feel like I could have probably got more in there, but whatever. Let's throw this cap on, throw it back on the bike, see what it sounds like. All right, it helped very, very slightly. It's still really loud, but it's expected, right? But it did help. It did help a little bit, so I'm okay with that. Probably hard to tell on video, but it is very slightly quieter. But I'm not complaining for something that was free, so not bad. All right, so we got a chain. Kind of didn't want to buy a cheap chain, but kind of don't have an option here, out of budget. So I bought a KMC chain. So yeah, hopefully this thing doesn't fly off and completely destroy the case, but I guess we'll take the risk. What worries me about is the price. So the standard chain was $14.99. Like, that's, I don't know, that's like bicycle chain money. But I opted for the longer life, I guess the heavier duty KMC chain. It was an extra 10 bucks, $24.99. So this cost us $28.11. And I think this is the last piece to the puzzle for this bike, other than the throttle cable that's got to come in. So hopefully that's it, because if anything major happens, we don't have any budget left. We got a little bit of money, but not much. So is the 110 length, factory chain's 106, so I will have to cut some links off, but we'll get that cut and throw it on the bike.
Much later.
All right, guys, we're back. It's been a couple of days, but we got our new throttle cable in. My luck, as usual, wrong cable. So the new cable was 2 or 3, maybe 4 inches shorter than the old one. I can't remember. But we made it work. We had to route it a weird way to give us extra slack. But we ended up making it work, and it's working well. It snaps back very nice, doesn't get caught up or anything. So she's gonna be fine. So honestly, right now, as of now, I think it's done. So we're gonna fire this thing up, and we're gonna take it for a drive, make sure everything works, make sure everything goes through the gears. I already did start it and just took it out of the driveway and back in. So I tried first and second gear, but that's it. So let's go take this thing for a drive and see what it can do. Hopefully hopefully all the gears are there and everything. So let's go get a helmet on and take this thing out. All right, let's go. right, boys, we're back from the ride. You know what, it did all right. I wanted to check, make sure it's got all 6 gears. They're all working. They are. It seems to be running okay. It doesn't have a lot of power, but I guess I'm used to bigger stuff. I ride my KTM 380 there, and I don't know, maybe I'm just used to stuff like that, so it doesn't have much power. But it does seem to run okay, actually. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this, I guess, guys. So I guess it's a success. 100,000 bucks, runs, drives good. I can't complain. I'm pretty happy with the result of that. So like I mentioned at the start of the video, we are planning on doing a $1,000 bike challenge. So this will be one of the bikes, and I got 2 other buddies. At the start of the video, since it's taken me a while to film this, it was just kind of an idea, and now it seems like we're going ahead with it. So I already got 2 other buddies that are in. They got their bikes. So drop some comments on some challenges you think you'd like to see. I got a few in mind, and one of them is going to be a fan favorite. That's an easy one, so you guys can have a vote. So we're going to each put up a picture of the bikes. Once they're all figured out, you guys vote for your favorite bike. Depending on what picture gets the most votes, that person will get X amount of points. But anyways, yeah, comment below if you think of any challenges you'd like to see, specific little tasks we got to do, things like that. Tell me if you think it's a good idea, a bad idea, you don't want to see it. But anyways, thanks for watching this far, guys, if you have. And like I said at the start, if you like this, subscribe, share the videos, appreciate the comments. If you subscribe, it'll let you know when I put out more stuff. There probably won't be on this bike or much more videos on this bike for a bit, not until the summer, until we start getting closer to that $1,000 bike challenge. But we do have a bunch of other stuff, YXZ stuff, all kinds of things. That KTM, I guess I can show you that. KTM is going to be getting rebuilt soon. This one's going right down to the frame next. My 380. I got stuff on this CR250 I restored if you haven't seen that. And but yeah, thanks for watching this far, guys. I appreciate it, and have a good day.